Good evening, ladies. Welcome to the Wrightwood-Ashburn podcast segment. Tonight is Tuesday, November 11th. Is it the 14th? I'm sorry, I'm still way back. And tonight we will be talking to Valerie E. Lyons and Charmaine Fleet. We will be talking about Parenting 101, how to protect healthy personal habits as a empty nester. So my situation, as you all know, we all were a part of writing a book. I read everyone's story, but as far as empty nesting, none of us talked about it. It's a very rare subject. And as a mom, it was hard for me. I was a single mom for a long time. I was a teenage mom. And I've always been a mom. I've been a mom since 17, 18 years old. So now that I'm turning 50 and my daughters are gone, my son is here, but he's basically not here because he's in college. What am I going to do? So I'm starting to reinvent myself and try to find positive, healthy things to enjoy. And now that I have my son home, who's hardly here, I'm married, I'm starting to find time just for me. What are you all doing? And what's your parenting situation? Are you an empty nester? Have you found the me time? Have you found space for yourself again? Have you reinvented the wheel for Valerie? Have you reinvented the wheel for Charmaine? What are you doing to get the you back in you? Anybody can just go ahead and chime in.
Hey, Winona, this is Valerie E. Lyons. I am definitely an empty nester. Hallelujah. Thank you. I have two children. My son is now 42 and my daughter is 30. I spent so many of my years just involved in all of their activities. So my son was into gaming, computers, building computers. My daughter did everything. She was in three bands, playing basketball, playing hockey. So most of my week was spent out of the house doing things with her. The last year, when she was a senior, I spent time doing things away from her.
Mm-hmm.
She was having fun with her friends, but I needed to be able to separate from her so that when she left for college, I wouldn't be so devastated. So I started hanging out with my friends, going to the gym more. I was a figure competitor, so I spent more time in the gym, more time with family. So by the time she left, I wasn't sitting in the house crying every single day. Now, after that period was over, as I said, I was a figure competitor. So I spent, instead of just 2 hours in the gym, I spent an hour in the morning, 2 or 3 hours in the evening. I started crocheting again, started sewing again, hanging out more with friends, meeting new people, going to the show by myself, just trying to find my own space because I had given so much time and energy to my family. So I think that one of the best things is try to separate from your kids as early as possible and try to find a lot of different activities to do, things that you've always wanted to try, like skating.
Yes.
And now you have time to do it.
Yes.
Horticulture, writing, you know, Toastmasters, all
Yes.
those things that you thought about doing, but you didn't have time to do.
Yes. That's reinvention.
Yes.
Yes, and starting to discover and enjoy life, like for real. I'm just now realizing that. Charmaine, did you want to add to that?
My situation is similar to Valerie. My son, I only have one, but he could have been triplets because he's a lot. So, senior year, I started to say, what am I going to do with myself? So I started doing things that I always wanted to do, like get a massage every 2 weeks, started to go out more and more to dinners, and started to pick up Broadway. However, my son went away for college for a year, but he decided that he didn't want to continue college. So he came back home and just revamped everything that I was trying to do. So then it was battling all over of being a mom. Mom, can you do this? Mom, what are we having for dinner? And I'm like, I've had a year of alone. You have to go. You need a plan. Like you need to do something.
Yes.
So it wasn't that he wasn't working. My son worked extremely hard. He just did not want to leave the nest. So we did have a
Mhm.
rough patch, and he actually stayed some time with my mother
Mhm.
because she inserted herself into it. And I'm like, you're going to regret it. And she did, because she was like, oh my
Wow.
God, how have you lived with this boy? I'm like, I told you, let him figure this out, which he eventually did. I even still have to constantly remind my son, my name is Charmaine. It was Charmaine before it was mom. And
Mhm.
now I am setting boundaries, which is really hard to do because my granddaughter is coming up on a year. She is the cutest thing in the world. I could say that I'm her grandmother. And like tonight, can you watch Aria while we go to the gym? I'm like, no, I'm doing a podcast. You all should check with me
That is
earlier.
that is like what I'm really thinking of,
Mhm,
Charmaine, because
mhm,
we go from being moms to grandma. So
mhm.
it our life changes and you have more time to yourself, but then these
Mhm.
cute little buttons come
Yes, I
along.
know. I know. I was so torn tonight. I'm like, I know she's getting to the point where she's a little busy, so there is no way I could have did this for her. But I have to say, if you all want me to watch her, I will never say no. But you have to remember that I have a life too, and I
Yes,
think that's hard for our children because we give them so much. We're everything. We give them everything. We show up for everything. We do everything. And then all of a sudden we pump the brakes and like, it's time for you all to figure it out. So to their point, I think they struggle with it a little bit and it doesn't happen at 18. It takes some time that they have to realize, okay, she was Winona before me. She was Valerie before me.
yes.
She was Charmaine. And then they have to adjust to that.
So like what you just said, setting boundaries. We are parents first. We're
Mm-hmm.
grandparents forever. We're mom forever. We're grandparents forever. And we love them. So, but
Mm-hmm.
how do we set healthy boundaries for ourselves so that not even our children, you can have a spouse, it can be someone. How do you set these healthy boundaries just to make sure your time is just set aside for you? Like coming back to me, because, like I said, we've been moms most of our lives. So how do we get back to us without hurting their feelings? Because I hurt my daughter feelings. I have a set of twin grandsons who are 5, and she always want me to babysit. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I really have to set boundaries. But how do you do that without hurting their feelings or being worried about your grandchild being with the wrong person?
There's nothing wrong with hurting their feelings.
Yeah.
They don't mind hurting your feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't mind hurting your feelings. Each situation is different. So for me, I was retired from work and my granddaughter was born and my granddaughter's mom was talking about putting her in daycare at 6 weeks.
Ooh.
Well, grandma was not hearing that. I
Yeah.
said, until she can say, this little person touched me, she's not going to daycare. So I kept her 3 days a week for 3.5 years. My son kept her one day and her other grandmother kept her another day. So because I'm a retired educator, I was teaching. But with my son, I did say no sometimes because I did need to have space for myself. Now I knew that during the work day, yes, they needed assistance. I agreed to commit to that. So I'm sticking with that. But on the weekends, sometimes I have things to do. I need to go to a stepper set, or I need to do something with Toastmasters. I have, time to myself. And there are times when my son or, my granddaughter's mom would probably feel a little bit slighted. But I would say, this is my life. I worked really hard for this time in my life. So, yes, it belongs to me. I know there's things you want to do, but I come first in my life.
Yeah.
So I just had to let that be known. So now I rarely see my grandbaby.
Because she's school age.
She's school age and they have her involved in other activities. But to get back to the original point, you can set boundaries by saying no. Don't worry about hurting their feelings. You raise them to be strong and independent. They'll get over it.
Yeah.
They'll lick their wounds and be okay.
So is that the same for you, Charmaine?
I agree. When you were saying, I was thinking in my head, no, that is a complete sentence. I struggle because I am a new grandmother. And like I said, I only have one child and we're extremely close. But I have to remind him I work full time. I have a very stressful job. I'm still climbing the corporate ladder. I'm not retired. I still got to grind it out for some years. So when you call me at 8 o'clock and say, "Can you babysit?" and I literally just got in the door. 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna say yes, but I am gonna say no if I know that I can't do it. And I think my son struggles with that because I was his everything. So he's thinking I should be his daughter's everything. But I reminded him today, I said, no, son, because he was saying, we have to do something with Aria's clothes over here. I said, no. You have to do something with Aria's clothes. I'm done. That's all on you. You have to go and put her bassinet down in the storage space because she has things here. I'm like, no. You have to do that, son. I've raised my child. I'm talking to him right now. So those boundaries are necessary. It can hurt their feelings a little bit, but like Valerie said, they have no problem hurting ours. So I sleep well when I say no. I do. I
Yes,
do.
and you're right. No is a complete sentence. And we have to set those boundaries with our children very early, because if we keep giving in, they're going to keep taking. So that's
Mhm.
why no is a complete sentence, and we have to stick with that. Now, with me, I care for, I'm an empty nester, but I still have my mom. My mom has dementia. So now I have moved from like taking care of my children and doing everything I could for them. And now I got my mom. So now it's like I'm at this age where it's a pivotal point where I have to, I feel like I'm obligated to help my mom. So that's
Mhm.
a very touchy situation. She's still young, but the dementia takes her to a different place.
Mhm.
So I try to set boundaries, even knowing that I have to take care of my mom. Some days can be very stressful. Some days can be, just easy. It's easy taking care of her because she's still self sufficient, but she'll forget to take her medicine, so I have to see her every day to make sure she's taking her medicine, she has something to eat. She'll forget to eat. Now that I am older, but I'm the youngest of four children, and I'm the only one taking care of my mom. I'm not sure your situation with your parents, but do you feel like life, as we get older in life and things change, what have you learned the most about the cycle of life? Like how it has evolved for you, how you've seen it evolve for others? You know what? We're going to take a little break, and then so I want you all to think about, like, how can we go on? What is the biggest change in life as far as taking care of your children? Then you got your parents, and just still keeping yourself mentally sane.
If you are a college student looking for your identity, An entrepreneur looking to expand your streams of revenue, or a small business owner wanting to scale up, build a relationship with L. Darnell's Insights LLC. At LDI, they will combine your beliefs with wealth awareness methods in order to elevate your self worth, with the end result being your goals accomplishment. Let's build a relationship. Set up an appointment at ldarnellsinsights.com. That's ldarnells with an S, insights with an S.com.
Okay. So you know what I'm trying to say is about parenting and going from my mom helping me to now I'm helping my mom, the cycle of life. What is your thoughts, or can you say anything encouraging to the people out here that have to now you went from taking care of your children to now taking care of a parent, and anything positive feedback you can give us caregivers?
I can jump in, Valerie, if that's okay.
It's fine.
Well, most of you know my story. I lost my parents coming up on a year anniversary around this time. So I have a lot of emotions on what you said, Winona, about boundaries with your parents, because I think every day that I would give anything to take care of my parents. But I do have friends who have parents who have dementia, and it is very hard. And it takes a mental and physical toll if you don't set some type of boundaries and if you don't take time for yourself. So my suggestion for you is there are so many resources for support that you can talk to other people who have gone through this, who is going with it, and they can really help guide you to that fine balance. I would say remember when your mom is having those hard days that your mom is in there, she's in there and she's fighting. Just remember that, and that what will probably keep you going, Winona, is that one day she won't be there. So I wish you and send you all the energy and love that you need to get through this next phase in your life.
Thank you so much. I think that I needed to hear that because in so many situations we look like, oh my goodness, we're in the moment and it's hard. It's hard seeing your parent, the person that's strong, the loving person, the person that used to help you take care of your children is now down. So, and I lost my dad in 2017. And now, right after my dad passed, my mom took dementia. So, they were high school sweethearts, and now it's like I guess after losing someone you're close with, sometimes it takes a toll on you. Valerie, did you want to share anything about your?
Sure, my situation is a little different. My mother developed dementia while she was living in Atlanta, married, of course, and I was living in the Chicago area. So I wasn't there for the day-to-day care. I would hear about when she would have an episode, and all of a sudden I need to hop on a plane and fly down to Atlanta at the drop of a hat. There's at one point when she was in the hospital called me. I had to order my plane ticket while we were on the phone, rent my car, and drive to the airport and fly down.
Did you feel disconnected because you were so far away from it? Did you want to be close? Because my sister is in Wisconsin. I just want to know, did you want to be more active, but because of the location, you was not able to?
Yes, I did want to be more active because this is my mother. But I
Yes,
also had to realize my mother is married. She has a husband, and her husband is the one who makes all of the decisions for her.
correct.
Regardless of how I feel being her child, he was making all of the decisions. But I will say that taking care of parents is not your individual job. It takes a village. So you need a support system. There's nothing wrong with taking off your cape and giving it to someone else so that they can take over. Because if you don't have some type of support, you will burn out. So
Yeah.
I would go down there and try to help with my, stepfather, go to the store, go get your hair cut, go do something else, hang out with a friend or something while I sit with mom, because you can become very angry as well
So
because your
it's
freedom is.
funny that you say that because I feel like I'm burned out sometimes. So, but I have to keep moving to make sure that everything is done. And I try not to, because right now my mom did get remarried.
Mhm,
She got remarried a while ago,
mhm,
and but my dad was her high school sweetheart. So I don't know where the mental came in where my mom was just distraught that my daddy died and
mhm,
just took a toll on her. They were high school sweethearts. She had 4 children by him,
mhm.
and but she had been remarried and still. What were you saying, Charmaine? I'm sorry.
I, it sounds just like my parents. My parents were married. So this is one of my humor speeches to come. My parents were married, got divorced, and got remarried. So I had
Yes,
to witness that. We were at their second wedding. And then my mother, the second time they divorced, my mother got married more times. My father never remarried. My
yeah,
dad died, and 3.5 weeks later, my mother followed him. She
yeah.
died of a
Mm.
broken heart. Even when I was talking to her, she was saying, "Your father is coming
That's
to me.
that,
He
and
is
that's how
coming
my
to me."
mom. That's how my mom
Yeah.
And
says.
because I think that I know that they were each other's true love, they just couldn't get it right on this place in this place. So maybe
Yes,
where they are now, they're okay. And that
Mhm,
probably that stress of your dad dying probably impacted your mother, because my mother, I was even surprised how hard she grieved for my dad. But I'm
yeah,
thankful that they were in a good place when he did pass. Like, I'm thankful that we didn't have to have separate two birthday parties for the grandkids. Like, we were all able to come together, even though they had went through so much, when they were together. So it probably just took a toll on her that she
yeah.
got to that point.
Yeah, so that's why I try to set goals for myself. I try to I'm doing so many things to still enjoy life. I have my slingshot. I'm going to Africa. I in like 2 months I'll be in Africa. I'm doing things, and my sister is going to get my mom while I'm in Africa. So, how do we set healthy goals for ourselves, attainable goals, um, for ourselves when you have so many different things, situations going on? Like, I got my mom, we got grandchildren. You all are a little bit more free because I still got my mom, but how do we set healthy goals as mature, beautiful Black women?
I think like with anything, you need to have a plan.
Yes.
If you plan on losing weight and getting in shape, you have a plan. You just can't just wake up in the morning and say, I'm just going to ride the bike today. And tomorrow I'm eating a burger. You
Yeah.
need to have something scheduled, have some smart goals just for dealing with your parents, your family, yourself, all of your other obligations, and just finding some time for you. Write
Yeah.
out a plan and stick to that plan. Consistency is the key.
So, what are some of your goals that you've had in the past that you are proud of, Valerie?
Oh, goodness. Well, most people who know me know that I was a figure competitor. So what I did, I was 200 pounds one year, I think it was 2009. I was 200 pounds. Every year on my birthday, I stand in the mirror and I look at myself and decide, do I need to change something or do I need to stay the same? So that year, I needed change
Okay.
because early, a few years earlier, I was just 145 pounds.
Wow.
So
So, but Charmaine, what are some goals that you've attained, or how can we set attainable goals for ourselves? What is your suggestion?
I'm echoing what Valerie said. I look at it sometimes as work. I block my calendar off, meaning you could put a meeting on there if you want to, but I'm not going to be. So I try to set the same type of boundary. And you know what, Winona, I heard you saying you're doing this, you're doing that. Sometimes it's just the smallest things that brings me pleasure. Today, I went in my linen closet and realized that I purchased this like spa wrap from a spa I went to a few years ago, and you just heat it up and you put it on your shoulders, and just putting that on me like before we got on just took the pain out of my neck, relaxed me. So it's those little moments
Yeah.
sometimes. Like even I just came back from Vegas, even just being able to read, like not work stuff, but just read a novel. I mean, it's just a little small thing that can bring you so much happiness. So even you got your big trips, but just try sitting in the
The
window and
small.
drinking your tea or your cup of coffee and just some silence and just, be
Mhm.
open to that. So that is one way to help you stay sane while you're creating your boundaries and all that you have going on.
Wow, this was such a good podcast tonight. I am excited. So, what my takeaway from tonight was, in speaking with both of you, I know is a complete sentence. That's the first thing. Secondly, just talking about parenting, being a parent at a young mom. I've been a parent forever, going from being my mom's child and my mom being my parent to me being a parent to my three children to now me going back to my mom. It feel like it's just a circle of life where it started with me and my mom, and then in the middle it was me and my children, and now it's back to me and my mom. And who's to say it may be me and my children again as I get older? So it just
Mhm.
seemed like the circle and the life cycle just continues to go as we continue to grow. I'm learning so much about myself as I have time by myself. Like you all said, I know that Valerie was a weight trainer, bodybuilder, and Charmaine was a boxer. And I have to take her up on going out and boxing sometimes because her chapter in the book made me want to go box because I really love boxing. I like to go underground and see what it's like. I want to just see what they're doing underground in boxing. So just having these outlets to just give you some type of peace of mind is motivation for me to just keep going and hopefully encourage the next generation, encourage the next children, and hopefully be able to write a bigger book. So yes, our journey is wonderful, and it makes sense that it's a circle of life. It makes sense. Does anyone have any last minute comments? Anything you want to share with the audience?
Just set time for yourself. You are your best gift. Do not give all of your gifts away. Have something for yourself.
Yes.
I agree. It's what I am learning and it's still a struggle, but it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to be a little selfish with yourself and give yourself grace because no one else will. So start with that and you'll be okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Well, this was a good evening, and I want to thank you ladies for sitting here with me for this time and chatting it up about Parenting 101. Thank you.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
having me.
You're welcome.
Well, I want to thank everyone for sitting with us tonight. We are the Wrightwood-Ashburn Overcomers, WAO podcast group. We want to say this was Parenting 101, How to Protect Healthy Personal Habits with Valerie E. Lyons and Charmaine Fleet. Again, I want to thank you all for listening to us, and we welcome you to listen to all of our future podcasts with WAO. Thank you.
Are you one of those people who hate speaking in front of audiences? Would you like to enhance your communication and leadership skills? Then consider joining the Wrightwood-Ashburn Overcomers Toastmasters Club. Our club will help you conquer your fear of public speaking and teach you how to deliver messages that will win others over. Many times our jobs require us to speak in front of audiences to give PowerPoint presentations. If that's you, we invite you to join us, the Wrightwood-Ashburn Overcomers Toastmasters Club, every second and fourth Saturday between 10:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Come join us online at WAO.toastmasterclubs.org. Then check out upcoming WAO events.